Welcome back, guys, and today I'll be showing you the 3 methods you need to make 1,000,000 coins a day every day in the EAFC. Now if you're wondering why I don't have 1,000,000 coins, it's because I spend them on my team and that team builder's coming out tomorrow, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And if you do want to be in for the chance of winning one of 9 copies of the EAFC or some FIFA points, make sure to subscribe and send me proof over on Instagram. And of course, as usual, guys, if you want some coins in a quicker way, well, so if you guys are sick of losing at FIFA because your team isn't good enough or you're not good enough at the game, then right now you need to head over to skycoach.gg. Not only can they coach you in your weekend league or play your games for you, you can buy any amount of coins you want, and all of the services get 10% off right now with the code PRORECALL. Go check them out below. Make sure to click the link in the description and let's get into it. Now, to make coins on FIFA, there's a few things you want to do every single day just to give yourself a bit of a better chance at getting some extras. Firstly, your preview packs. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of people forget, and you want to do this every single day because obviously Joe Gomez right now isn't a brilliant pack, and if we have a look at the pack I got, it's not amazing. But when you get things like a Shadow, a Hunter, I mean, even Joe Gomez right now isn't bad price. That's still like 2k, and if I actually bought that, I'd probably be able to get a decent return. And what a lot of people don't think of is, for example, this pack here, it gets me about 6,000 coins. Now I have a ton of coins right now, so if I open this one with FIFA points or even with coins and I sell these bits off, Joe Gomez first of all, obviously for that 2,000 coins, and then obviously we can rattle through this. We'll get rid of that kit, get rid of that, get rid of that. Let's see what Architect's worth. Not really anything, so we'll get rid of that at minimum price as well. We've already made back from these bits alone, probably, I mean, if you get rid of the contracts, get that, and then we save those, we've made about 4 or 5k back. So overall, not too bad. But now we get a second preview pack. Now this one might be filth, but it might be really good. So getting that second opportunity is always worth it. Who have we got there? As you see, it was definitely worth it. Realistically, I think, is that who I think it is? That is not who I thought it was, but you got a K there. You might get something out of Wilson. I don't know why I thought it was Alaba. He's obviously moved clubs now. But you get the gist of it. That second pack could have been really good, so it's always worth giving it an attempt. Now, something you also want to do every single week if you are aiming to have 1,000,000 coins a day is make sure you get your marquee matchups out of the way. You can trade to 20 or 30k quite quickly every single week, and this is an SBC which you're going to profit off most of the time, especially at the start of the game. As the game goes on, sometimes things do get a little bit more difficult when you have tradable SBCs, but marquee matchups, at least until January, maybe even till March, is really going to be something you can make a good bit of coins off. Now, of course, I've given you some little tips there, but the meat of trading, of course, is on the transfer market. You've got investing, you've got sniping, and of course, mass bidding. Now, if you need sniping filters or mass bidding filters, you know where to go, this channel, of course. But if you're looking for a little bit of a more in-depth look at this, what you need to do is, first of all, we're going to have a look at mass bidding. So, for example, an easy one is always going to be Premier League, silver rares, and we can go for a club or a nation. I like to go for French because that's one that's always going to have a little bit of value. So we've got Sar here, we've got Mapai, we've got Armada, and we've got anyone else. We've got, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, and it looks like, so there's 4 guys there, all under the French silver rare and prem. So we're going to have a look at what these guys are going for. It looks like around the K mark. Okay, so 500 coins, 600 coins, we've got a couple there. So let's have a look, 550. You got these 2 at 500. Now these 2 at 500 we're going to pick up because they're the cheapest on the market right now. We can sell both of these for about 700 coins. So of course, that's not a mass bid, that's a snipe. Now realistically, I'm going to pop them up at 650 just to get them gone quicker. It means we're going to make just over 100 coins per card there. Now, of course, another thing you need to know when you are doing trading in EAFC is that they do a 5% tax on every card. So if you sell a card for 1,000 coins, you're going to get a 5% tax, which is 50 coins. Now, of course, when you scale up, when you're going for 100k and losing 5k, you do notice it a bit more. Now, for this, we can see these guys aren't being sold for anything less right now than 600. You've got a couple 550s there, but they haven't been up for very long. So what we want to do is pop our max price over to, I'd say even 350 on this one, and you just want to bid on all the cards. Now right now, there's not a lot on the market in the silver region, but we can bid on every single one of these for 300. Now the chances are we don't win them all at 300 coins. We're probably going to win these at around the 4 to 450 mark. But if we win all of these at 400 or 450, you're looking at around a 200 coin profit per card. How many cards were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost 10 cards. You're making just under 2,000 coins. Of course, mass bidding is not the only way to do things, and these aren't the only mass bidding filters. A good mass bidding filter right now, I would say, is any manager, nation, for example, Netherlands, Brazil, France, the more popular nations that don't have a lot of managers. As you can see, we're not going to get a French manager for less than, I think, 5k actually right now, so maybe don't bid on the French ones. But if we go to a better nation for it, for example, Brazil, we've got a lot of managers here. There's 2 women and 1 guy, I think. So you've got 3, which is actually quite a lot for managers of a nation like Brazil. Now we're looking like 3.2 and 3.5. And when I say that, by the way, about Brazil, I just mean in past years, we've only ever had 1. So you're looking at around the 3.4, 3.5 mark for these guys. So what you'd want to do is hop on a bid, pop the max to around 3,000 coins, and you can bid on every single card. Now, because it's around 3k, there's going to be a ton of pages of cards here. Now, if you bid on every single one for 2,000 coins, you are going to win a good chunk, because right now I would say they're the easiest ones to win. Managers are a lot easier to win than players. Now, when you are mass bidding, there is a little bit of a cap to it. When you go above 100k, it's a little bit harder to win cards on a bid. You're more likely to get a really good snipe than a really good bid at those stages. A few years ago, you definitely could win big bids, whereas now the market's changed a little bit. If we pick up a filter like this, Defender, French La Liga, and we go over to a minimum of 20k, you'll find that we've got 2 reasonably similarly priced cards here. So we've got Kunde, who's coming in, I think, on the lower end, around the sort of 150 mark. As you can see, that's kind of where he's being bidded to. And then we got Mendy, who's actually a little bit cheaper than I would have expected at this stage of the year. We're looking at around the 100k mark. Now, of course, these guys aren't right next to each other, and you are going to have to get a good snipe if you're going to see a Kunde on this filter, but it's a good example for what we have on this option. So having a look here, you're looking at around 94k, I'd say, right now for a Mendy. Realistically, that's like kind of the price he's at, because even though there's 5 or 6 cards, they're all at 59 minutes, which means they're not really staying up very long. The longest they're lasting at this price is around 4 minutes, as you can see. So on the basis, it's 94k, 10% is 9.4. So EA tax, when we half that, is around 5,000 coins. So if we did that, that's where the EA tax leaves us. So we need to make a bit of profit on top. So we're going to go down to, I'd say, 86.5. Now, of course, Mendy is one of the more popular players on the game. He's very usable, and there is a chance it's a little bit harder to snipe him. So this filter, as an example, isn't a great one for a lot of cards coming up. It is a good filter, however, to show that you can get 2 very high-end cards and the availability to snipe them really, really easily. It's just about snagging that card. Now, I do think there's going to be a lot of people snagging Mendy, so we're going to have to be a little bit competitive and a little bit fast with our snipes. Now, sometimes you have an issue with filters like these where you're not going to have the cards coming up, so you can go onto what is called a compare price. So you go onto the market, you get onto the card, and you just click X and B, and what it does is it reloads the market for you, which means if any extra ones have come up, it's going to show you and you're going to be able to see them. Now, we can see a few Mendys here are being listed at around the 90k mark, which is good. It means they're getting close to that 86, 87 mark that we are looking for. Now, if you do find, like we are right now, that the filter isn't working for you too well, it's always best to just move on to another one and come back. Now, using a lower scale example, if we go over to Real Madrid and French, you got the likes of Tuchemeni and Camavinga. If we take these down to around a 1k mark, you can see nothing on the market, 2k nothing on the market, 3k nothing there. When you get to 4, you see the likes of Camavinga popping up a bit more, and you can also find Tuchemeni a little bit above. So we're looking at pretty much bang on 4k for a snipe on this guy. 10% off for EA tax is 400, and obviously the EA tax is actually only going to be 200 of that, but when we take off 10%, it means we guarantee ourselves a bit of profit on top. So this means we'd be getting break even at 3.8. At 3.6, we'll be getting 200 coins profit. So what I would say is, as a good rule of thumb, equaling EA tax for your profit can be a good idea, because it means it's kind of what EA see as a win out of your snipes. So kind of you can take that as well. Now, of course, if we want to make more coins, what we can do is we can either lower the amount that we're sniping him for, or go for higher value cards where you're going to get more per card. So we've got that one there. Miss that. When it comes up with that "this bid could not be presented" message, usually it means you were very close to the snipe, but you've just missed it, which is always unfortunate, but it's nice to know that the speed was there and we're not just blundering every snipe. Now we're going to do a 10 count. Oh, I was going to say we're doing a 10 count. I usually do a 10 count to kind of prompt me moving on to the next filter, but seemingly this one's working quite well. So when you do find a filter like this and it's working quite well, you're getting cards, decent filters are coming up, or decent snipes are coming up, sorry, you do want to stay on it, because sometimes filters are better than others, and it will just be that time period. Maybe Camavinga's being packed a lot right now. EA change the balance of packs all the time. If a filter's working, stick with it. Now this year they've introduced a new style of sniping. We've got the Playstyles edition. So what you can do is snipe players who have a playstyle, which is good for example, breaking down your filters a little bit more and a little bit differently. So for this one here, we've got Griezmann, we've got Katoto, we've got Papin, and we've got Trezeguet on there as well. Now what we could do is, if we pop this as special, what we find is we've then got Trezeguet, we've got Papin, we've got Govu, who wouldn't really usually come up on a filter together, but they do now. And what's good about this is that Trezeguet and Papin are around the 100k mark. So now we're getting players who, even though they're different quality, even though they've got different attributes to them, they don't have any matching nations or any matching clubs, we can get them on the same filter because they both have playstyles, which I think is a really unique way of sniping right now. Now we're looking at around the 110, so we're looking at around the 110k for these guys right now. EA tax on that is going to be 5,500 coins. So if we snipe this guy at 100k, we are looking at an absolutely lovely profit. Now, of course, on this one as well, we can get the likes of Papin, of Govu, and Henri, but I don't think Henri or Govu are really going to be anywhere near this one. However, we do have a good chance at Trezeguet, so you've got a nice little way of breaking down the filters, which I think is a good introduction. The fact that you can break down by play styles means we can get men and women on the same filter, and it'll be men and women who are actually really good cards, so it's a good way of breaking it down. Now, the final way of making coins on FIFA, of course, is investing. Now, there's a lot of ways you can do this. Of course, we mentioned marquee matchups earlier. You can give it a go at predicting the teams that are going to be in marquee matchups and attempt to use that in order to make coins. Now, of course, we've been outbid here on some of the cards we've had a look at. We've got one there. We're just going to leave. Let's have a look at this guy here. So he clearly is a more expensive one of the bunch. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop a little bid on him here. We're going to bid that for 550, and then we're going to go over and bid Armada for 350. We don't want to lose, but we also don't want to spend too many coins. Now back to the investing. Of course, on that front, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can predict SBCs, you can try and predict informs. Now, predicted informs is one where it's 50-50. If you are really sure a player is going to get an inform, definitely give it a go. But it is something you have to be sure of, because if they're not, you might lose some coins, but you want to get in early. So for example, if Haaland scores a double or even a triple, you might want to grab his card, but you don't want to do it when he's got his 4th goal, because people have already thought of that. Now, for example, if you get a player who's on a lower tier, maybe Jobe Bellingham rather than Jude, if Jobe Bellingham plays for Sunderland, absolute beauty club, and gets 2 goals, there's a good chance that he's going to be getting informed. So you might want to buy some of him off the market. So it is dependent on what's going on, and of course you've obviously got the SBC route where you can try and predict big games, things like that. And then the other side of things is Silver Stars. So I've actually got Silver Stars investments in now that I'm still holding, praying that they ever release it. So you've got a ton of ways to make coins there, guys, and of course if you need the filters for these methods, check out the rest of the channel and you've got them. I hope you've enjoyed the video, a little bit different today, a bit more informative, and make sure to subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you tomorrow.